Okay, so today I'm in the back in the Star Sports Mayfair VIP area in Curzon Street, talking to Joseph Ginger Joe in inverted commas Knight. Thanks very much for agreeing to come down today, Joe, and talk to us. So you're a tipster,
Yes,
and produce content and stuff. So let's get down into these figures. Over the past 3 years, you've won over 1,675 points betting on golf.
yes.
Including 1,000 points in 2023. I mean, those figures are astonishing. I'm assuming that in 2023 there was one big win.
I had a very good, consistent year in 2023. I suppose, Simon, my name started to become more widespread because I actually had 7 winners in a row at one point, ranging from 20 to 1 to 125 to 1. So I had a 7-week period where I had the winner seven times in a row, and it was capped off actually in the Canadian Open. I put up 4 selections. I had first, second, and my other 2 were in a tie for third. We went into a playoff. So we had the 66 to 1 winner, the 20 to 1 loser in the playoff, and then an 80 to 1 and 120 to 1 that were both in tied for third as well. So I had a really nice run of winners from there, really, and you know it's grown ever since. I'm really proud of that, of course. So.
Yeah, I should think so. Well, we'll talk more about the nitty-gritty of the betting side of all a bit. You've also been tipping horses as well, and made at least 200 points each of the last 4 years. That's also amazing figures.
Thank you. Yeah, but again, something I'm definitely very proud of. This is something I suppose I've been mastering my craft, if you like, over many years. But since I got myself into punditry and tipping with recorded companies, it's gone very well. 200 is generally my target for the horse racing every year, and I'm glad that so far I have managed to reach my targets. I'm proud of my my tipping achievements. I am.
Yeah. So before we go into the nitty gritty of how people can sort of emulate that, or how you do it. So you're born and bred in Cheltenham.
Yes.
So it's so horse racing was everywhere.
Yes, I am that guy who. I was at school at sort of 11 and 12 and I was bunking off to watch the Cheltenham Festival. So it's hard not to be a jumps racing fan when you're from the home of racing. It's there on our doorstep. It's my family love to attend the races, and yeah, I've had a big love for it from day one. I used to even talk to my teachers about it from even when I was a youngster. It's it's a big passion of mine. I love the sport and I love the animals as individuals as well. I get a lot of enjoyment out of horse racing.
So we're family punters?
They are punters, not necessarily professional punters, but we all speak every weekend, and who you backing for the big race, who you backing here, who you backing there, and we all get involved in a few anti-post bets together and things like that as well. So although they're not heavy punters, the passion is there in my family from start to finish.
The Cheltenham was the first race course I ever attended.
It's a good one to start at.
And you sort of assume that in a racing town, everybody's into the racing. Like I expected everybody to be in the market. But is that true of Cheltenham, or do people just tolerate it?
I suppose you can tell people where you're from, and they say, I'm not sure about Cheltenham. You say, the races, and they go, oh, I know. So everyone is aware, I suppose, that we have the Cheltenham Festival at the home of racing. And I suppose it's probably more popular in Cheltenham than it is in other places. I mean, the way I sort of describe it, if you're sat in a cafe and you're having your breakfast, you can probably overhear someone talking about the Gold Cup or an anti-post bet, or Fergal O'Brien, one of the local trainers, and talking about, their aspirations for Cheltenham. So all year round, even during flat season, you are hearing Cheltenham talk. Yeah, if you're stood in a queue at the post office, Simon, there's people talking about Gallopan, can he come back and win it again? And so you do feel it in the air.
So that's some of the locals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, even during flat season, you do hear people talk about it all the time. I'm very fortunate, to be from Cheltenham. That's where all of this passion initially came from, I suppose. So
nice to hear a nice West Country accent.
Yeah, I've got that farmer twang, I think, to my voice at the moment.
So you've already mentioned that you were like 11 or so when you used to bunk off school. So how early did you start taking an interest?
Yeah, I got into racing in 2001 with the likes of Best Mate and Rooster Booster. They were the horses that got me hooked on the sport, and from there I've never stopped enjoying racing. I used to be fascinated by going to the race course and when the odds were physically written on the boards, and that brings back a lot of good nostalgia memories for me. But as I said, it's just hard not to be a huge fan of racing when you're in Cheltenham. I was probably the one that was just a little bit slightly more into it than other people, I suppose, my age at the time.
So you got any special early memories of racing?
Yeah, Rooster Booster probably winning the Beulah hurdle and then going on to win sort of the champion hurdle as well, because at the time Rooster Booster was probably the people's horse. He was a beautiful grey. The name rolls off the tongue nicely, and the fact that he was so impressive, so slick at his hurdles, so fast away, it really did, sort of grasp my attention initially. Also, you go around Cheltenham at that time on the buses, you had the big pictures of Best Mate, and after he won his first Gold Cup, to then watch him go back and do it for another 2 times, it was just incredible. I really took to it very, very early. There's not many sports that you get to support animals and humans coming together to make something so I describe it as beautiful. I really think it's an incredible sport. So the passion is there from start to finish. I loved it from day one, yeah.
So where did the golfing come in?
So the golf was something that came from my granddad, I suppose, initially. He used to go and play with all of his friends, and he'd sort of pick me up after school and he'd be looking after me. He took me down to the driving range. And whilst they went out and played, I was just hitting golf balls on the range initially. Probably when I was about 14, 15, I was quite a late starter in with regards to most cases. And I was quite natural. I didn't find it too difficult to actually hit the ball initially, and got quite good, quite fast, and playing in the junior ranks. Went on to do county stuff, and I was winning sort of 2-day professional events when I was an amateur. And it all just stemmed from there. The fact that I was pretty good and getting a fair bit of attention, it was just something that I really became a fan of. I had quite an interesting feat. I played in a men's tournament and I had a hole-in-one on a par 4. It was 346 yards at a golf club called Sheridan's, which is just outside Cheltenham. That got me in the papers, and there was just a little bit of momentum behind my talent at the time. I wasn't really sure how good I was, to be honest, and one thing led to another, and yeah, I've loved golf ever since. Yeah.
So you told me before we did the interview, you went to how do you pronounce the sports college?
Hartbury,
yeah.
Yeah.
to study golf. And I
Yes.
didn't realise you could even do that.
You can, yeah.
So is that like a course where you go in a keen amateur and come out a professional?
Yeah, exactly. It's a sports college, so they, I suppose, they do lots of diplomas. My first year, I actually did a first diploma in sporting excellence. So I was learning about sport, learning about things that are in the background and not just playing. And once I completed that, I then did a national diploma, which is a 2-year course on golfing and sporting excellence. I was the number 1 at the college, which enabled me to go and play in all of like the national events against the other best individuals in the country. And when I left Hartbury, I actually went and worked in a golf shop rather than turning professional initially. So I was that guy. I was selling Mars bars and things like that, and the driving range balls to individuals. And the long and short is, I went and played in a professional tournament as an amateur, won the event, and then I ended up getting a sponsorship deal after. A gentleman approached me and said, "I'd like to, take you on and see if you could go and play on tour."
So you went as you turned professional.
Yes.
Golfer. So how long did that last, and what were the highlights of that?
So I played professionally on tour for 5 or 6 years. I played on the Europro, the Challenge Tour, a few of the European events as well. The reality of it, Simon, to be honest, was I could have earned more money by the end of each year with a generic job. There's no disrespect in that at all, but you can only do it for so long before you realise, okay, this is probably where my limit is now. I'm not earning anything excessive. So I that's when it decided to take a back seat. But I suppose the highlights was, I played with a lot of good golfers. I played with Retief Goosen, for example, Tyrrell Hatton. I used to play with Tyrrell on the Jamaica Tour. More recently, an individual called Marco Penge, who's just won 3 times this year on the DP World Tour. So it's great to see people go on long term, but it just didn't work out, long term.
So what for those that don't know, there's obviously loads of professional golfers.
Yes.
You only hear about the few that
Yes.
win. So what is the reality of, like I say, a journeyman
Sure.
golf player?
So I played full time, so I didn't have a side job. I travelled, but before you've even set foot onto the golf course, you've probably spent about £1,000 on accommodation, your equipment, your entry fees, your travel. So before you even step on the golf course, this was probably where my mindset was, because I didn't have the biggest backing at the time, was right, where do I need to finish to earn my money back? What do I need to finish to earn my keep? And it became very, very difficult without a strong backing from a big sponsor, shall we say. And it was costing me more money than what I was returning at that stage. And unless you're finishing in the top 10, 15, it's hard to get a decent return, for sure.
Okay, I'm guessing, well, your career sort of fizzled out. You decided,
Yes.
right, enough's enough. I've given it a go. I'm not going to be up
Yes.
there with Sebi Ballester or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right.
So you started tipping horses straight after?
Yes.
Go. So, I mean, I'm assuming that you've been betting on both horses and golf?
Yes.
Were you allowed to bet on golf when you were playing?
Yeah, I was, yeah. To be honest, this is half how I funded my entry fees and my travel, because I wasn't earning outside of my career from working. I did have a sponsor paying some expenses towards each event, but when I'm going away every single week to different places for these events, I had to try and find a way to earn some money. So I fancied my hand at punting, and I've made it pay quite regularly, and that was a big saving grace for me. So when that fizzled out, it was naturally going to be something I was going to try and fall into. I didn't want to go back into an office. I wanted to do a career with something I enjoy, and the passion's there. I felt like I had the experience, and I started with betting.co.uk, and I've managed to gradually grow my profile ever since, up until now, effectively.
So how, I mean, you were in college, so I assume you started college when you were 18.
Yes.
You've come out at 20?
Yeah, 22.
Yes,
22.
then you become a professional. So how long were you punting for before you... when did you realise that you were good at it then?
Probably when I got to college, because I didn't have a lot of money to live off at the time, but when I was coming to the end of the week and I had a few £100 sort of thing on the side from punting, I thought, well, I'm missing a trick here. And that's when I started to really sort of hone in on my craft and learn a bit of discipline as well. That's been hugely important. As a teenager, it's very easy to watch a football game and feel like you need to have a bet. Watch the big race and feel like you need to have a bet. The discipline was something that enabled me to actually earn a profit from the sport long term, because without that, you're just betting left, right and centre, and probably not understanding your own craft really, and where the positives are for you. So
I mean, I've interviewed quite a few professional punters. I mean, a lot of them was talking about spending 10, 12 hours a day studying form. I'm assuming you weren't doing that at the time. So what was, I mean, did you just have an aptitude for it, or did you have what made you profitable? Because it's bloody hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I obviously couldn't spend that much time studying, but as it's a genuine passion of mine, in my free time, I'm sat there looking back at all of the history of racing, and, you know, last season, all of the horses coming through. And I think it was just the fact that I had a little bit of a knack to know what I'm looking for. It's very easy in punting. A lot of people will see a horse with a pulled up sign next to their name and instantly just write the horse off without maybe having a look into the backstory. So I just try and find the finer details that are actually going to enable you to back a winner effectively. And again, because it was helping me in my life by earning money, and it was how I was getting by at one stage, it was just something that I really just honed in on, and really tried to build my profile. And I was only winning small amounts at first. I wasn't betting big, sort of 10, 20 pounds sort of here at the time, but I was still able to earn a few £100 at the end of the week. And again, when you start to live off that money, it becomes very important, and more than just enjoyment. It became something that I felt like I had to dedicate some time to get what I wanted out of it. I didn't want to lose money doing something I enjoy, and that's effectively what happened with my golf playing career. So yeah, the punting was a good thing for me. I enjoyed that a lot, and I suppose it's just taken off from there really. Yeah.